All right, so the next one that we're really going to be talking about here has been passed on by a buddy of mine. And look, I'm just going to preface it like this. A lot of people don't know is episode before aviation, I was also involved in IT, and before that, 3D computer animation. I have a degree in 3D computer animation, and I follow a lot of the stuff that happens inside of the technology world. But this link was passed on, and being big gamers, and to the point of trying to understand what it means for a new Unreal Engine. Okay. Well, we're not going to play the whole video because you can't, because it's long. It's
Yeah,
very lengthy.
yeah.
However, what we can do is just give you a brief glimpse of what they really show you inside of the world of what the new Unreal Engine is going to be like, because it's actually phenomenal. Okay. They go through the explanation of how they basically created this in-game engine editing tool that incorporates so many new things into the fold of 3D gaming and 3D database engineering and hierarchy. Let me get straight to the point here, where this is actual in-game footage out of Series X, which looks...
Oh yeah, in engine, yeah.
This is by far what people, I think, have always been looking at for the photorealistic gaming engine experience. However, they've taken it one step further, which is they've created such a hierarchy system that whenever you create something in 3D, it used to be that you also had to turn around, as we got an advertisement in there, you also had to turn around and create what's called levels of detail. And levels of detail modeling, basically, you would actually go in and have to create a step-down version of something like a human being. You'd have to have the high level of detail, which was up close, the low level, then the medium. So this game engine does it for you. It also has drop-in, drop-out artifacts, meaning, as they're showing here, you can literally just take different things and place them in the world as necessary, and then literally rebuild the world on the fly while you're looking at it in a pre-rendered condition. Which, let's face it, that's next level stuff, right? And especially for next level systems. What I want to see is how they implement this, right? So what games could come to mind, Corey, for yourself and me, that you would think would be ideal for a graphic update, right? Because I'm trying to think, because Battlefront 2 was pretty good looking, but the Battlefield wasn't, and that was based off of Frostbite, right? But I'm trying to think of,
yes.
Yeah. So, and I'm trying to think of what games would really benefit from this massive world building structures that they've also implemented here as well. So
I'm thinking all those open world MMOs that people wanna go to, and I'm not so much like WoWs, like World of Warcraft, but I'm thinking more like an updated version of Skyrim or The Witcher, the Witcher series, something like that, that is just open world and really would benefit from really far depth of field, or not depth of field, but depth of render with amazing detail that doesn't really take a huge hit on the what it's running on. And people there, I think there was a Tomb Raider demo. I don't know if it was this engine or not, but there's a Tomb Raider demo that wasn't too long ago, and it looked amazing. But I think, just what Mike's kind of getting at, and I don't have as much experience in building games. I did some rendering and things in the past, but nothing like he did. But certainly can see how, if you're interested in this kind of thing, taking a look at this particular video we have posted down there, I think there's 2 links down there, but really would help you see how the developers themselves could really benefit from this product workflow. The fact that multiple developers can be working on the same scene with maybe different elements in that scene all at once, and there's no crosstalk, and you don't have problems with when you bring it all together again and everything. And it looks like it'll be obviously visually very very good, but also possibly reduce the time we got to wait for these things, right?
Right. Well, the other thing is that they've done an amazing piece of work at is the sorting engine and trying to figure out what exactly constitutes what needs to be rendered in a scene and what doesn't, and how smart it's actually gotten, right? which in and of itself is an amazing process, just to have basically almost an AI level, thinking logic to the game rendering engine, right? Because before, this has all been done in-game engine, but at the behest of a lot of programming, not as a plug-and-play tool that you could basically use for the future, right? And I'm trying to think, and it brings me up to one other thing. Flight Simulator, right?
Oh my, yeah,
Flight
geez.
Simulator, they touted the fact that when it was going to go to a new developer, it was going to come out that the graphics were going to be fantastic. It was going to be beyond anything we've ever seen. And then I think it underdelivered. While it was better for a Flight Simulator, it's definitely one of those things that it could be possibly better if you used it in, say, an Unreal environment. But as we look at the level of detail that they're talking about here when they're loading these cells and how massive you can make structures, you're right. The MMOs could definitely benefit. James had a comment in there. The new Mass Effect game, I think, is supposed to be working on. Hey, I guess Mass Effect is one of them, right?
Would you say in James that that's one they would fit it well, or the one that they actually are working on with this engine?
Good
because
point.
I mean, both of those are great options.
Now another thing that they're showing here in this video is they're showing drop and drag object placement, which is amazing. But it's also, if you're a 3D modeler, I'd be a little concerned. My job might be in jeopardy.
You got a bunch of canned models.
Yes.
And if you watch the video through the whole way, you'll see that Unreal, the people that are doing it, are talking about how you have access as a dev. You're going to have access to a giant library of things that are, like you see in the video, are already in there. So yeah, exactly. If you were a 3D modeler, is now your job not to work for Unreal, but now to go wherever they're building the library, whatever business has the library, that's where you go work.
Right.
Like, I need to work for those people because
they got it.
That's where the models will come from. I don't know.
And what they're showing on screen right now is how, when you're in the environment, how it determines what needs to be rendered. And basically what it does is things that are behind you or don't need to be rendered, it drops out of its content drawer of actually having to deal with. And then it goes in specifically here into what's called these data layers. So once you put these objects in the world, you can assign them the attributes that they basically need for when do they render, what's their collision objective, what's their response after collisions. If you pull out this particular weapon and hit it, what's the response from the actual object? That's all going to be embedded in game. Now, my buddy, and I'm not going to take credit for this conversation because this is something that I didn't think about, because this is obviously from the team that brings you Fortnite. This is Epic. This is Unreal. These are the people that have been working on this type of stuff forever. But there's a battle in the world of game engines right now, because Epic and Fortnite are in a locked-in battle with the content providers and phone providers for having their own embedded stores in their games, which means, will we see these on the mobile platforms, say, of your handheld gaming systems? I don't know, especially your iPhones and your Androids, because those are still things that are going to be, I guess, discussed in the future of how they're going to be resolved, right?
Yeah, I mean, geez, can you imagine, like, if you, now that if you get somewhere that has a high-speed internet connection, we're talking like really high speed, and there's a lot of services out there now, like cloud gaming, right? There's multiple services that are cloud gaming with varying degrees of success. But my point, where I'm going with this, is, can you imagine something built with this that you don't need the hardware local to run it?
Oh, wow, yeah.
You could just have your controller that Bluetooth to whatever device, which we'll get to, right? We're getting to handhelds later, but it's, all there, that could literally run this all off-site. The number crunch off-site. And I know there's some problems with the delay and lag. I get that. But
sure.
Just what I'm saying though is just amazing. Can you imagine, you could literally, like you said, put your phone on your desk, prop it up, Bluetooth your controller to your phone, and you're playing this game on your phone.
Sure. Well, look, there's no doubt this device right here, and this is the one, the 12.9, the new iPad Pro, the M1, right? They're saying that this is Apple's first shot at truly putting together not only an iPad that can be truly for content creators, but also the fact that it's got a 120 hertz refresh display with HDR qualities, and it's their first really good shot at having their own mobile gaming platform. And one of the other things that we're going to see at DevCon for them in the not too distant future, I think it's coming June 6th, is that they're going to go heavy into pushing Apple Arcade on both their 4K set-top box and this to join in the fray of what is becoming the ever-evolving gaming community, which, like Corey said, look, games are evolving so rapidly at this point that mobile platforms have become almost dominant. And where you wouldn't think that a premium game could be free today, premium games are free today because the game starts out as free but becomes more premium with the content that the developers can continue to put into, because of the massive amount of players playing and the dollar value that they're getting out of that. So this is really huge for the Unreal crew to produce such a sophisticated engine at a time when, like you said, mobile gaming is so hot. So going to be interesting to see what they do
for the devs, and make it easy for the devs to work it all. And if you watch the whole thing through, you'll see that they're actually, if you're interested in looking at, if you're a dev and you're looking at trying some of these dev tools out, there's a preview developer build that you can get. Just follow the link down there, and you can watch the video and get the scoop. But supposedly they said that the full release of the Unreal Engine 5 for devs will be out early 2022. So,
early 2022, which would be pretty cool. Now, buddy of mine also clued me in on the fact that most games that are in development right now, some have actually gone back into development as this tool became available, because they've gotten pre-issued versions of it, and that some of these games are actually going to go back into development because they want to use it. Now, if there was ever a game or a game genre that I would love to see updated, look, I'm big into iRacing. I love iRacing. I have a lot of fun. I've got my simulator. You've seen the video of the old version. There's not even a video of the new version of the simulator on the channel. However, because it's been updated with triple 32 AOC curved monitors, an i9 processor, I'd love to have a 3090, but you can't get your hands on one. However, that said, I would love to see someone make a racing game that has the articulation of a simulation-based racing environment like iRacing, but with the eye candy of an Unreal 5 engine. That would be phenomenal to me. That would be another one that I would look at. So
that'd be amazing. And I did also find too, while Mike was just talking about that, I found some info that says Epic is making it so if you are developing your game in Unreal Engine 4, there's a way you can migrate all of the whole workflow to Unreal Engine 5 when it becomes available with minimal problems. So they're already thinking about exactly what you were talking about, how backwards compatibility for development, in the sense that the new thing's out, but you can make your game in dev, because games, and again, if you're not aware, a lot of games take a long time to make.
Oh yeah.
So multiple years. So the fact that they're making it as easy as possible, I think, with for the devs.
Now I'm going to throw a complete blindside part to this conversation, is when it comes to things like air taxi development and so on and so forth. I'm wondering at some point if they could use something like the Unreal Engine to work on their AI learning logic for flying devices that are going to enter into service into the air taxi environment, and if they can use some of this as cross programmable devices, saying that basically, hey, we're going to test our AI learning logic in a map that we created of basically like San Francisco, and see if it can handle that environment. And I'm wondering if these tools are really bordering on that cross communication and cross platform ability to have real world application in, say, like the air taxi market, or even just general aviation for that matter. Because I know we're close. I know we're real close, because on some games, like you can tie in your ForeFlight, or you can tie in your basic EFB or your flight bag device into your simulator at home, and basically have it give you a 1-for-1 in relationship to where you are in the world. So I'm wondering how close we are with that with the Sun Engine.
Yeah, the integration of, as I said, integration of ForeFlight into Microsoft Flight Sim or any of those flight sims is really cool, and adds to immersion, and also a good training aid too. Obviously, if you're using that kind of stuff. So, but I hadn't thought of that until you just were talking about it.
It popped into my head.
Just that I'm wondering if the level of fidelity that Unreal Engine is demonstrating here is really what would be required to get the data they would need out of an air taxi, like, say, automated collision avoidance and terrain following and whatnot. But I mean, it could totally be a thing.
It could be. I mean, it just popped into my head because look, and we're getting to that point, and we're going to start talking about the other topic, which is also these mobile gaming platforms. Whereas, look, you have as much mobile computing power today in your hand in a tablet form that you wanted 15 years ago. When these tablets and everything else came out, they were always slightly muted. They couldn't do things that people could do on a regular basis. And now, just like I said, you got a mobile class processor. Excuse me, not a mobile. You have a desktop class processor in a mobile platform. And then, if you look at what Microsoft has been doing with their Surface line, they've been including Intel processors in that for a long time. So as these markets all start to converge, I'm starting to see that image of maybe that one computing piece that basically goes with you when you're on the road, and then you take it, drop it in at home, and it powers your game system, and it powers your triple screens, and it does all the workload of everything you've ever wanted. Interesting thought, though. And I guess we could just say, hey, like, subscribe, follow, and if you have any comments, leave them below. We'd love to hear the discussion from you guys. And the next part would be the one that you found,